Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the SWBL podcast. As always, I'm your host, Sam Skibbe, commissioner of the SWBL. You know, I've been working as a teacher and there's so many Zoom calls, I almost said Mr. Skibbe there instead of Sam Skibbe. I have to really kind of take my teacher hat off and put my SWBL hat on when I'm coming onto these Zoom calls and these podcasts. But we thank our guests for joining us, and I'm going to introduce them to you now. You know, guys, real quickly before I introduce you, we have been every single year, it seems like the Blues have been making the playoffs recently. And last year we had the great joy of over Memorial Day weekend, they were in the Stanley Cup, and we had that opportunity to see them. And this is last 2 Memorial Days ago when we had the last full season on Memorial Day. And it is so sad that this year, not only are we not playing on Memorial Day, but the Blues aren't even playing on Labor Day, eliminated too early. And so we are sorry that the Blues won't be playing, but we are so excited that we are 1 week away from the SWBL season. So we had a podcast, couple podcasts already going on. We recapped Summer League with Matt Germer and Cole Layton. We thank them for joining us. And then we had the Expos podcast yesterday with Brett Spencer, Kevin Wheatucker, and the much anticipated return of Andy Oldenburg. So we welcome that as well. And the first guest I want to introduce tonight is fellow front office member and the first ever SWBL Rookie of the Year, Mr. Peter Leicht. Peter, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem, Sam. Coming at you live from the Skibbe Wiffle Complex.
Yes, you are at the Blur. It's daytime where you are. That's fantastic. And Peter, you know, we'll talk about Summer League for a little bit. You were the champion. The 55ers won the championship of Summer League. Congratulations again for your team. But let's talk about that for a little bit, Peter. And you brought this stat to my attention. There have been 4 outside of the SWBL, fun season activities. You had the diaper party tournament, you had Hallow Wiffle one year, and now recently Summer League, and you have won the championship for every single one of those, but you have 0 championships in the actual SWBL season. How does that make you feel, Peter? What are you doing wrong during the season that you're doing right in the off-season things?
I don't know. I think these off-season tournaments, there's usually a person or two on my team that's pretty solid that can help carry me there, especially in the pitching department. I don't know. I think, I win when it matters the least, you might say.
Well, there you go. But I do believe, Peter, your team's going to have a coming out party and hopefully make it back to the championship, where I think your roster can definitely do some damage this year. Next person I'll introduce is a wiffle ball veteran for the SWBL, sort of kind of the younger generation of our league, but definitely he's been a big connection bringing in the Marlins as well. He plays for the Athletics normally. He will not be there in our season for 2020 this year, and unfortunately he won't be there for the Athletics, but there's a bit of a team situation going on where the Diamondbacks aren't coming due to COVID, and then the A's, your team, Luke, and the Royals, my team, had to combine because out of 10 players on those 2 franchises, only 4 could make it. So out of those 10 players, only 4 players can make it. So myself, Paul, Steve, Paul, your teammates, and myself and Gus from our team. So Luke, I'll start with that. What's your take on this Braves squad, and will you be watching the live streams and rooting for this Braves team?
Yeah. First of all, I'm beyond upset, to not be in the tournament this year. With it getting pushed back, from Memorial Day to July 4th and to Labor Day, it's tough, when you plan some trips and you're not able to make it. But man, I'm excited for these Marlins. These guys are some of my best friends. I've known for years and years, and they're some athletic dudes. And I'm telling you, they're gonna bring some power to the league. I think they're gonna. I hate to steal this quote, this term, but I think they're gonna shock the league, shock the world.
All right. Taking the A's and going with the Marlins to shock the world this year. Hey, somebody's got to have the phrase this year and coin it. You took kind of the words out of my mouth. I was actually going to tell you to introduce us to our next guest. Eli, I don't have the pleasure of meeting you in person, and I'm so excited to get to know you, but so many people have talked highly of you, and that is Peter and Luke on this call, especially, that have vouched for you guys. And so, Luke, why don't you kind of introduce Eli for us, and then Eli, you can say hello to the people for the first time out there.
Well, I've known Eli since I want to say about sixth grade Parkway Southwest, middle school basketball team. And right away we were good friends. I was the best man at his wedding. He's one of my closest friends today. That being said, he's also an incredible athlete. He was the quarterback for our high school. He played some baseball, played some basketball, and this guy, I'm telling you, this guy's going to bring he's going to bring some fire to the league. I've never met anybody who is more organized than Eli Erickson. He's going to have the team, on time. We're going to look good and we're going to play good. I'm excited. I will be watching the live stream. There's no question about it.
All right, and Eli, welcome again to the league. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate the opportunity for having us this year. I appreciate Luke bridging the gap between us, and me and my team are really excited for this year.
And Peter, I'm going to jump to you right away also, and a follow-up question. This is kind of off the cuff for us here, but obviously the elephant in the room here, Eli is the husband to your little sister. And, it's got to be intimidating, Eli, to be on this call with, someone who has the nickname MVP. And Peter, I got to believe you're not going to give any slack to this Marlins team. You're going to come out firing and you're going to show Eli what this league's all about, I assume, right? Like, what's your game plan first game against the Marlins?
No, I mean, same division. We'll play him twice. We'll just treat him like any other opponent. I mean, yeah, Eli, I know it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. He came to me and he said, Peter, I want to marry your sister. And he said, and I also want to play in the SWBL. And I said, Eli, yeah, I mean, you're the quarterback of the football team. Like, of course you can marry my sister. It's not going to get any better than that. But SWBL, I mean, you may have to wait a little bit, kind of get in line. It's a hot ticket. But so I'm super excited for this moment to come. Glad to be in the same division and looking forward to playing against them and watching them play against John as well.
Yeah, and Luke has said a little bit about it, Eli, but I will tell you, you guys are a complete unknown to this league and to these veteran guys that have played in this league for a long time. And that could come as a huge detriment to you guys because you have to get used to the slope in the field. You have to get used to the speed pitching. You have to kind of get used to playing wiffle ball in a competitive aspect and try to hit with that skinny yellow bat. And I know that everybody has played wiffle ball sometime in their life, whether it was just throwing it around as a kid or finding it in the bottom of your garage, toy bin and pulling it out and playing a couple of times. But talk about your experience with your roster and kind of break down the roster for us, because as veterans, we have no idea who you guys are coming off. We hear what Luke says, we hear what Peter says, but kind of break down your 4 main guys in your roster and talk about what their roles might be on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. So my only experience really in wiffle ball is, especially the league is going the last few years. Been pretty consistent, seeing the games, enjoying the entertainment. But really, that's my only experience. I'll most likely probably be the number 2 pitcher on the team and play some infield, and that's kind of my role moving forward as a captain. But the good news is my 3 teammates do have a little bit of experience. There was a tournament, they think like summer 2014, maybe June timeframe, that they did get to play in at your field. So
was it with Jack Nickens?
I'm not totally sure.
Okay.
Luke, do you remember by chance?
Or Peter, maybe anybody?
2014. Man, that was a long time ago.
And there might have been little things that happened and things like that too. So there were a couple new teams and random people that came in and out. But yeah, there's a great connection right there. If they played, I apologize, I don't remember them, but it could just be a random connection there. Yeah.
Yeah. So at least they have some experience there. So I'll start off with Josh Anthony. He's going to be our ace. He did pitch last time. Started off pretty decent, but the experienced hitters really took advantage, as we'd expect. But we look forward to him getting some practice in. We met up last weekend a couple times and got some work in, get used to everything. So we're looking forward to what he can do on the mound. Next would be Sam Rudnick. He is a med student at SLU, and he's kind of going to kind of be our utility guy. You know, if we're struggling on the mound, he's going to go in there and throw strikes and kind of play anywhere in the field. Can bat, you know, right and left. So he's kind of our do-it-all player. Then the last and probably least, my buddy Trent Davis. He's going to be a fun addition to the league. We'll see what he can bring in terms of talent. We had him practicing on the mound last weekend, and when he was on, we really couldn't hit him at all. But when he was off, he couldn't hit the plate. So we're hoping he can get in some spot innings, maybe get some saves on some games we're up on. But that's kind of the squad rundown.
You know, you mentioned that you guys practiced last week, and I know you guys were texting me trying to figure out, you know, the length, how far away the pitching distance was and how big the zone was and everything. And I know you guys know, and Luke has probably told you that, you know, there's a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. And I know you may not have the speed gun that we have, or you may not have been able to track the speed, but do you think the speed will be a problem? Do you think you're going to start slower and then kind of gradually grow into it? You guys going to kind of check out what the other teams are doing and kind of copy as they go along? Or how did the speed look for you guys when you're kind of trying to keep it under that 55?
Yeah, well, you know, it definitely is tough not, you know, having a speedometer or anything and anyone there with a ton of experience to really judge it.
Sure.
But we decided when we were really focused on batting to kind of throw as hard as we really could, you know, make it harder than it may be,
Sure.
You know, during the actual tournament. But in terms of pitching, just working on what pitches we can throw for strikes at a decent speed. And we'll really just pay attention to the other teams to see kind of gauge that speed to see who that matches up with for our pitchers and kind of go from there.
Yeah, you guys have a little bit of time, obviously. You guys can watch some live stream games on Friday. I know we would love, as you've been there before, Eli, you know, you've come with Andy and you've seen, you know, the league play out. And it's always great to have fans and the people there. And unfortunately, this is going to be such a different year with the pandemic that, you know, we usually even do these podcasts in person. You know, we always like to come over to my place, and I always have Cheez-Its on hand, right, Peter? You always got the Cheez-Its, and, you know, we got the beers flowing and we're hanging out together. And we're doing these Zoom podcasts now, but the same thing's going to happen with our Wiffle Ball weekend. And you guys can still watch the live stream games on Friday. And then obviously Saturday during your time block when you guys come. And your first game is actually against two of Luke's now current teammates, and myself and Gus. So my question goes to you, Luke. That first game is going to be live streamed. So the first ever Marlins and Braves games will be live streamed, and they happen to be against each other. Luke, who are you rooting for in this game?
You know, I can't answer that question. You know, obviously I have my boys, you know, on the A's, you know, who I've played with almost my entire time here, you know, who I love very dearly. You know, and I got my boys that I grew up with. I'm rooting for a good game. I want everybody to play good. I want everyone to have a good time. You know, obviously I want the Marlins to show what they got, but I also want Paul and Steve. Is it? I believe.
Yep, Paul and Steve. Yep.
This year, you know, I want them to hit a bomb every time they get up to the plate. But you know, that's a tough question. It's a tough question, but
you're going to abstain courteously, I assume, is what you're going to do from that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Luke, I'll ask you another follow-up question, because you know these teams a little bit better than Eli does, or maybe you transfer knowledge to him as well. But they are in arguably the toughest division that a new team could be in possibly ever. I mean, this is tough for a new team to come in and have three cornerstone playoff franchises, including the reigning champs from the past 2 years in the Yankees and the Twins, and then consistently a team that has constantly won the wild card game in the Brewers. And when the preseason rankings came out, no hard feelings, you know, to you, Eli, but obviously the Marlins were ranked 8th because nobody knows anything about you guys. But the other three teams in your division were ranked 1, 2, and 3. So knowing that, Luke, what is going to be your prediction to get through this gauntlet? You know, they have all their 6 games of their schedule. Over 50% of their schedule is going to be against these six games will be against these 3 teams. So what do you think they're going to have to do to get through this tough division?
Man, it's going to be tough. You know, you don't really understand how difficult this game can be until you actually play in a game. And when you're playing the three best teams in the league, it's going to be frustrating at first, I think. But if there's one thing I know about, the guys on the Marlins, they're incredibly competitive. They're not going to lose every game. They're going to compete. And it's going to be tough adjusting. But this season's kind of a practice season for these guys. And they say practice needs to be harder than the game. So I'm excited to see them. I think they're going to compete, and I think they're going to, open some eyes.
And we said that in the podcast yesterday too with the Expos, and Eli, I will tell you this too. There are great wiffle ball players from around the country that have come to our weekend that have played on franchises and gotten the opportunity to play, like players that play in national tournaments around the country, and some of the best pitchers and some of the best hitters from around the country, huge names in wiffle ball, names you probably never heard before, but Peter and I and a few other veterans have heard of these names like Jimmy Cole and Stephen Farkas, who have won national championships from all over the country. And they came to our weekend and struggled big time. And Luke said it exactly right. It's going to take a little bit of that transition to get there. So Eli, my next question is to you. What is going to be a success for the Marlins in 2020? Like is it a championship or bust, or is it make the playoffs, or is it win a game? What is going to make it so that this season is a win for your quote unquote practice season to get your feet wet?
Yeah, getting in the playoffs would be awesome, but I think we also have to temper expectations as well. Definitely win a game would be a bare minimum. I know we'll have a good shot against John's Expos, so we'll highlight that game on the calendar. But just win a few games and just fight for till the end of the weekend to have a shot is kind of all we're going to be pushing for.
Yeah, and your schedule really works out for you guys. You have a really spread out schedule. I kind of did that on purpose for you guys. That way it wasn't too strenuous your first season, but having a 4-4-2 schedule, so 4 on Saturday, 4 on Sunday, and then 2 on Monday. You're one of the 2 teams that has kind of that spread out schedule like that. So I think it'll really help you guys and give you guys kind of a feel for the weekend and how it flows. But Peter, we'll go back to you on this next question. And Eli gave his expectations on what would be a win for this team. But let's talk about it, Peter, because you're on the front office, and the front office just voted unanimously that the Marlins are the 8th in power ranking. They're dead last in power rankings just because they're that new team. And you put them ahead. Would you put them ahead or at par from what you know just about Eli, or what you might know about a roster he could come up with? Let's talk about these low teams that have been in the past. There's been Expos teams that have finished 0-10, 1-9. There's been Pirate teams that have finished 0-10. There's been Indian teams and Astro teams that have been very low on the totem pole. But where do you think the Marlins will fit in that history book when it comes to comparing to all those teams?
I think unfortunately, I think they're going to be down there near the bottom. I'm not talking. I think they'll be above the Pirates, maybe even be above the Giants. But it's going to be hard this year with that schedule, and there's no D-backs, there's no Athletics. No offense, Luke. And you got a new look Expos team and a new look Astros team that makes it very difficult to get a win. So I definitely think they could sneak one out. I'd maybe say 1-9 would be my ceiling, but I'm expecting maybe an over season, just to be flat out honest.
Well, and Eli, it's got to be motivation for you guys to hear that. And your guys are going to hear this podcast and you'll hear that motivation, and it could help you guys with that motivation as well. But, it's going to be tough. And this is, like I said, not only just the toughest division, but even everybody on the other division. And we're going to do a division breakdown in a second, but every team in the other division seems to have improved in some way, or at least the lower teams have improved. The Expos and Astros gaining ground on the Braves and the Rockies, who have lost people, and all those teams in that division could be even. So it's going to be a really interesting year for you guys. And Peter nailed it for sure. It's going to be tough on a year that everybody's high and up. But do you think that all these 8th rankings that you're seeing on Twitter and all these 8s, is that just going to motivate your guys to just take that next step?
Absolutely. Luke hit it on the nail. We're going to be really competitive, and we're going to bust our asses. So we're excited.
Eli, I had no idea what to expect from your breakdown of your roster, but from Trent Davis's photo that he sent to the league for the website, and from what I know, he's a really tall guy, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he's about 6'8".
So I feel like this is going to be a fun team with Trent. And I feel like and Peter will know this name, and Luke might remember too, but Andrew Lindor from the Diamondbacks. He played a couple years and from Minnesota. And I feel like Trent's going to be our new Andrew Lindor. And it'll be really exciting to see this team and the camaraderie that you guys have bring to the table. And from what Luke tells us, it should be an interesting year for you guys for sure. Let's move on to a different segment, guys, and we'll break down kind of each division real quick. And then I have some ranking and prediction questions for you. And I know I gave you guys these questions ahead of time, so you guys can kind of talk about it as short or as long-winded as you would like. You can give me a one-word answer. You can give me a phrase. You can do whatever you would like to kind of talk about these divisions and break down. But when you break down your division with the Yankees, like I said, as the number 1 pre-ranking, and then the Twins number 2, Brewers number 3, and the Marlins number 8. And then you go over and you have the 4 seed in the Rockies, the 5 seed in the Braves, 6 in the Expos, and 7 in the Astros in the other division. So let's talk about each division and what the rankings for each of them are. So let's start with pitching rotations. And I want you guys to just do quick answers. You're going to rank the pitching rotations for all of these teams. Now, Eli, you might have, a little more insight than anybody else on your squad, I know, and you may not have too much to go off of for the other teams, but kind of just give a broad answer, quick answer if you want, or you could even say where you might fit. Again, you don't have to rank 1 through 4 every single division. You could just give me your top answers, guys, or who's going to be in the basement. But Peter, let's start with you. Let's break down your division in the Glendale, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram division. And let's break down those pitching rotations. Who do you think is going to be 1 through 4?
So, I've actually got the Brewers at 1, and I think my rankings seem to be falling in line a lot with the front office. In the past 3 years, first in ERA and strikeout ratio, and second in WHIP. It's very balanced rotation. PG is breaking out from summer league, and a lot of people are high on him in terms of fantasy. And then you got Kyle, who he may not log 30 innings, but he's probably one of the more feared pitchers. And nobody saw Jimmy Stout pitch last year as he wasn't there, so a little unknown factor for that. So I think with those 3 guys, and I can throw myself in there if I need to at an inning at a time, I think we're looking good. And then I'll give it to the Yankees with Jackson Crosley, Cy Young candidate, and Scott's knuckleball. And then I'll put the Twins at 3. Will Rath is a top 4 or 5 pitcher, and Spencer was rusty in summer league, I will say, but I think he's going to bounce back. And then that'll leave me with the Marlins at 4, because who really knows? I'm hoping Trent can do really good. I'd love to see him on the mound, but hard to say.
All right, and Luke, we'll move to you. And if you have the same as Peter, you can kind of echo what he has, or is there any changes that you would make to that for the top 4 rankings for that division?
I'm gonna need a refresher on the division. It's Marlins, Brewers, Yankees,
and Twins.
The Twins. Man, I'm gonna have to go number 1. My boy Jackson Crosley. I mean, he is one of the toughest pitchers in the league to hit. Number 2. I don't know, Peter. Did you mention David Olderman?
So Olderman's on the Astros this year.
Oh, he's switching it up. Okay.
But he also will not be in attendance this year due to family and COVID concerns. He lives in Colorado now, but he is a member of the Astros. He was a new free agent in the offseason for them.
Okay. Oh man. I'll probably go Twins number 2. And Pete, you're not going to be happy about this, but I'm going to go Marlins number 3.
Wow, that is big prediction.
Fat J can absolutely sling the wiffle ball. And I don't know have you guys ever played Super Mario Baseball?
Mm-hmm.
Super Mario Sluggers? Well, Waluigi is the best pitcher in the game. In our entire lives, we have compared Trent Davis to Waluigi. And this man is so tall that he can literally beer pong shot the ball to the strike zone. And I think he's going to have some really nasty pitches. I think once he gets on, he's going to shock the world a little bit. So I'm excited to see that. And then I'll go Brewers number 4. I'm sorry, Peter.
That's big talk coming from, PG, who is so close to edging out Jimmy Nelson for, Summer League MVP, having incredible mound presence. And then Kyle Cornell consistently having an ERA 5 or under. And in this league, having an ERA under 10 is good. But for Kyle Cornell to have an under 5 ERA the past couple of years is pretty impressive. And without Olderman, they now have the chance to really shine. So it'll be interesting. If that happens, Luke, then you need to go to Vegas and make some bets, because that would be an excellent prediction indeed.
Nothing against Brewers.
Oh, of course not.
Outstanding people, outstanding guys on that team.
There's no hard feelings here. You can be as cutthroat as you want, Luke. And Eli, that brings us to you with the pitching rotations. And you don't have to say much if you don't know, but you can give us any insight you have. But also, where will the Marlins fall, you think, based off what you've heard from Peter and Luke and just what you know about the league? But where do you think your team's going to fall in that ranking for that division?
So, I mean, it's pitching-wise, it's definitely a really tough division. I know I've checked out the fantasy information that's been put together, and the Yankees, Braves, and Brewers are all over the top of it. But I think we'd be fighting there. I'd have to agree with you with the Brewers for that number 3 team. So we'll see.
Awesome. Well, it's always good that we have some confidence going into it. And I'm very interested to see how your guys can adjust to that 55 miles an hour and see what's going on. And you're playing a good team to start. Our team's going to be a good team for you guys to play first. That way you guys can kind of get your feet wet, and we won't be mad if some go over or anything like that too. So it'll be a good start for you guys, and we're excited to see what you can do on the mound. Let's jump over very quickly, guys, to the other division, because I know you could care less about them, except for maybe Luke with the Braves having a little connection there. But the Ketting Ice Center division, you have the Rockies, Braves, Astros, and Expos. And obviously the front office rankings came out, and probably the biggest jump in the history of the SWBL front office power rankings. The Expos were ranked 8th in pitching last year, and now they're ranked 1st in pitching with the addition of Brett Spencer to the Expos. Jimmy Nelson obviously winning the MVP for the playoffs of the Summer League with his nasty knuckleball, and consistently pitching at the 55 mile an hour speed limit or a little bit over every time. But he is definitely the nastiest knuckleball that anybody has ever seen in wiffle ball. But Pete, we'll go back to you. Kind of break down just very quickly who might be just like the more top teams or the bottom teams. You don't have to give me too much with this, because I know this division doesn't matter to you guys as much.
Expos this is the best pitching rotation that we've ever seen in the franchise era with Jimmy and Brett. By far the number 1. They're 1st and 2nd in nearly every category. If you look at the pitching rotations on the other teams, I'll give it the Braves 2nd. You got Paul, Gus, Sam, a veteran trio. I'll slide the Rockies in at 3 and the Astros at 4. A little unproven on some of those ends, but I'd say it's very close from 2 to 4 there.
All right. And Luke, any changes to that, or anybody you want to highlight?
Honestly, I agree with that. But I really want to put the Braves on top, because they got my boys, Paul and Steve. I'm going to be gunning for them all season. So, I'll put them on top.
Yeah, even though Steve will never pitch in his life ever again. But yes. All right. And then Eli, if you know anything about this, but like you will be playing these teams just once in the regular season. Your first game, obviously, against the Braves. You'll probably get me on the mound in your first game. But it is – what are your thoughts on these teams? Have you looked at any of the fantasy stuff or anything like that? Rockies have won 2 championships, one of them without Brett. There's their ace star. And then obviously with them losing Brett and Grant Boyd not coming for the Rockies, they could be a team that could slide to the bottom of this group, depending on how well Breida and Blake can step up. But any insight you want to give or any changes to that ranking that you would have?
Not really. I'm not surprised John needed some extra help since he's not doing much of that squad out there, picking up an extra pitcher to form such a great rotation. But we'll see him.
Yeah, the Expos, you got to believe, are going to be the team that it's going to be must-watch wiffle ball, all weekend long with Jimmy and Brett, and seeing what that team from Shantytown can do. So let's move on to the hitting side, guys. And we all know hitting is what's going to win the SWBL. It's not going to be pitching. And as much as the Expos would like to think it's going to be pitching, you got to score more runs than the other guy to do it. And there are going to be games that Jimmy and Brett pitch that could be close to a shutout, a no-hitter, or a perfect game, sure. But let's be honest, rarely do those things happen because this is a hitting league for sure. And I kind of created something, and I'm going to explain it to the viewers and explain it to you guys again if you got confused by my text message in the agenda ahead of time. But I want you guys to rank, and we'll start with, this time we're going to go the other way. We're going to start with the Ketting Eye Center division with the Braves, the Rockies, the Expos, and the Astros. And you're going to give me who you think is the best hitter in that division. So the best hitter in that division, that's your first one. And then we're going to go around the horn, and it'll be really quick answers. And then you're going to give me the best team with the best 1-2 punch, if that makes sense. And then you're going to give me the best team with the best 1-2-3 punch. And then the best team with the full squad hitting rotation. So you can kind of think back in your mind. If you want to abstain from one of the different ones, it's no big deal, but kind of a different take on the ranking for hitting. So let's start with the Ketting Eye Center division. And again, the Braves, Rockies, Astros, and Expos. Peter, we'll start with you. Who is the best hitter in this division? Who will be the best hitter in this division for 2020?
Thank you, Sam, and that's why I appreciate the early notice on the topics. I'm going to go with Gus Skibbe here. He doesn't need Summer League to tune up, and he's been top 3 in pretty much every hitting category the past 3 years, the first pitch strike era. So I'm definitely going with Gus and feeling pretty good about it.
Common knowledge, I know on Twitter, you probably saw Gus Skibbe injured at Hometown Cup in the slow pitch tournament in Indiana, but is recovering nicely. There was a little fear that he was going to be swinging one-handed during the season, but he is going to come full two-handed, ready to go when he swings that yellow rod, and he is going to hopefully have a full season with batting two-handed, but if he ever needs to, he might go to one. But knowing that, Luke Bakula, who do you got as the best hitter in this division?
I'm going to go with Gus Skibbe's brother, Mr. Sam Skibbe. This man, I've never seen anybody – I've been playing ball for 11 years, and I've never seen anybody hit a wiffle ball like this guy. I mean, like, I'll go up there and I'll try to muscle up and try to hit the ball as hard as I can. But, Sam, I feel like you have it down to a science. It's not swing hard. It's swing fast, not hard. And you've got it down, and you hit the ball farther than anybody. And I think you're going to win some titles.
I appreciate that. You didn't hear me at Summer League, though. I sounded like Venus Williams out there in my old age trying to get it out. So it's getting rougher with age, but I appreciate the nod. And Eli, anybody you want to highlight that's different or maybe the same that you want to highlight from this division?
Yeah, I remember the last couple of years, Gus Skibbe really stuck out to me as a really great hitter. So I'd expect nothing less this year.
All right. And then, guys, no explanation needed for the next couple ones. It's just going to be team. All right. So if you want to do a short explanation, you can, of course. But again, we're just going to pick that team and give the viewers that ranking that they so desperately crave. But who are, in your opinion, which team in this division has the best 2 hitters, the best duo? Who's got it, Peter?
That would be the Skibbies on the Braves, 100% confidence here.
I feel like this answer is going to be common based on your answers from number 1. But Luke, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that.
All right. And Eli?
Same as them.
See, I feel like we don't move on. But this is the beauty of this game, because do the Braves keep your nod when you go to 3, or does it change to somebody else? This is where it starts to get tricky, because you got to think 1 through 4. Now, I know Luke will probably still go Braves because he loves the Paul situation. He loves the A's joining together with the Skibbe brothers. But you also got to think the Rockies are a proven team. And you also got to think the Astros signed Cole Layton, get Cam Smith, who did great at Summer League. And Paul wasn't at Summer League, didn't get those reps, but he also has said in text messages if he ever took reps in the summer, he would get worse. So he always likes to come fresh that very first day. And then Steve Hayes, when you get to the 4, Steve Hayes had the worst batting average in Summer League, 10 points worse than Kevin Wheatucker of the Expos. So let's talk. Peter, who do you got as the top 3 hitters? Which team?
It's certainly going to stay with Braves, because when you add Paul, you got 3 Hall of Famers. So Team Brave.
Luke?
I mean, Braves. I mean, I don't care. I don't care if you match it up, by every member of the team. Having the Skibbe brothers and whoever it is, Paul or Steve, as that third one. I don't think there's any reason to beat that. So.
All right, Eli, any change?
Nope.
All right, so there it is, guys. I felt like this division might be like this, but the next division will be a little bit harder probably. And just to throw it out there really fast, is there any change when you get to 4? Peter?
No, and it's more. No.
This didn't work
Even
out
with
then. My
defense-
segment didn't work out for this division. Let's skip this division sucks. Let's move on from this division. Let's go to the division that matters, okay? Let's move on to the Glendale Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram division, and maybe this will change. I'm a little embarrassed that we even kept that in there. So let's go on to the real question at hand here. Who is the best hitter in the Glendale Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram division? And this is a division that you could really make a case for many, many people. So Peter, who do you got?
Yeah, don't worry, Sam. It's about to get good. I would say Scott Poley. He was just so hot in the summer league, and I'm putting some stock in that. So I think I'm going to go with Scott.
Scott Poley of the Yankees. All right, Luke, who do you got? This is the Twins. So Spencer and Chris, Edlow, Will, Corey McCarthy joining the Twins. You got the Yankees with the Poley twins and Sam Bakula, your older brother, or one of your older brothers. And John Collier won't be in attendance, so it'll just be Jackson hitting.
Oh, really?
Yes. So there you go, a little insight for you. And then you have the Brewers which of course the trio of the Brewers and Peter, PG, and Kyle, along with Derek Cornell, who will fill their 4th spot mainly. And then of course the 4 Marlin buddies that led off with Eli, Josh, Sam, and Trent.
Okay. Yeah, I should have done my research. I apologize.
You're fine.
That's my bad. I'm going to go with Sam back here. I mean, the guy's got the leverage. He's got the talent. He's got the competitiveness. He's gonna hit. He's gonna go off this year. He's been in LA for about a year now, and he's gonna come back. He's gonna be fresh. He's gonna be hitting that ball. So I'm excited to watch.
Eli, anybody different, or you agree with one of them?
I'm gonna stick with Scott Poley there. And agree with Peter.
Yep, Scott Poley has been absolutely mashing the ball when it comes to any type of wiffle ball in the past couple of years. And you got to put Scott up there as one of the top contenders for one. And this kind of scares me because we're kind of getting into dangerous territory here, or maybe Luke's just the outlier. But MVP, let's go back to you. Who is going to be the best duo for the Glendale Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram?
I'm going to stick with the Yankees, Scott and Sam, strictly for the power. They were top 3 in homers last year, and they're top 5 in the past 3 seasons. So I'm going to stick with Yanks thus far.
All right, Luke.
It's hard to beat Scott and Sam. I want to be honest. Those guys, you got the Twin Towers out there that are, that rake. So, no change there.
All right, Eli.
Looking at the stats, I'm gonna have to go with the Twins with Spencer and Chris. So, I mean, you guys have seen them play more, but stats don't lie.
Eli, that's exactly, if I was playing this game, that's who I would have picked for that duo as well. I think you go with Scott for number 1 there, and then I think you move to the Twins because you're right. The stats and the competitiveness from Chris and Spencer, it just comes so easy and naturally for them. And a little fun fact, Spencer Boga is the only player in SWBL history to ever start a season with 10 at-bats and 10 home runs, and he did it just last year. And I don't even think anybody's done that with 4 or 5 home runs, let alone 10. So Spencer Boga, definitely a top contender for hitters as well. Let's go on to the trio. Best trio, Peter. Who do you got?
So 3 guys. I want to start mixing in some average. I think I'm going to go Twins here with Spencer, Chris, and I mean, the 3rd spot, it doesn't even seem to matter if they got 5 good guys, but I'll throw Corey McCarthy in there as my 3rd. Yeah. You're going to get good average and good power.
Yeah. All right, Luke, who do you got? You got the Yankees, who got a good trio with Kevin Poley adding in there. You got the Twins, who got Corey Edlow you could put in there, or you will as well. And you also have these Marlins who, from what we can tell, you guys have a lot of experience with competitive play as well. And then so any of these teams could rise to the top. Brewers with a cornerstone trio of this league. So who do you got as your trio, Luke?
Man, I mean, once you mention Chris and Spencer in there, it's now that I think of it, it's kind of hard to beat that. When you throw, whether it's Corey McCarthy or Will Rath. I'll probably go with Will Rath, more of the veteran.
Yeah, definitely not Edlow. He sucks, right?
Yeah, definitely not. Although
Yeah.
he didn't deserve that. He's got so totally. He had a bit of a hiatus last season. He was kind of taking it easy on us, but he might come back this season and put up some numbers. But I'm gonna have to go with Chris, Spencer, and Will.
All right, a different trio for the Twins. That shows you their depth as well. And Eli, who do you got for a trio?
I'm going to be rolling with the Yanks.
Yankees. And you got Kevin Poley has absolutely been mashing the ball in summer league, and he has been hitting the ball so hard. So definitely having those three guys that are so tall and so fit when it comes to wiffle ball, that those three guys are going to definitely hit some dingers. And Jackson can always provide that spark when he's up to the plate. And if he does well, that Yankees team is going to roll for sure. All right, and let's get to the big one, the final one. Which full squad team would you put up against anybody on the hitting side, Peter?
I got to stick with the Twins, and I think I'll add Edlow as my fourth because he had such a good summer league. And no offense to Will Rath, but I think that's just going to be a well-rounded squad, and we'll let Will handle things on the mound.
Yeah, and you guys know that obviously Spencer Bogad only going to be at the SWBL season for 6 games. So there will be plenty of playing time to go around for all 5 of those players when it comes to hitting. It'll be interesting to see what Chris Meadow does when all 5 of them are there come Monday. All right, Luke, who do you got?
I'm going to switch it up, and I'm going to go with the Yankees here. I think their chemistry is unmatched. I think they got a great lineup, just 1 through 4, and there's no guy that's just an automatic out, and I think 1, 2, 3, 4 in that lineup is just going to be pretty deadly this year.
That is an interesting reaction. I did not expect Jackson Crosley to be the reason that you picked them to go forth. So that's a good, bold prediction for sure coming up. And Jackson will like to hear that. Eli, anybody different? Anybody that you agree with?
Yeah, I'm rolling with Luke here and the Yankees on this one.
Jackson Crosley has consistently time and time again proved that he deserves to get more at-bats for that team, and proved it last year by going through the playoffs without Kevin Poley, who was working for the Blues during the Stanley Cup at that time, and they won a championship, the first team ever in the history of our league to win 3 games in the playoffs in the franchise era, and they did it with Jackson Crosley batting all 3 games. So that team can definitely roll when they are on fire. So guys, thank you for running through that. It wasn't as different, and the answers didn't change as much as I hoped they would, especially when it came to the first division that we went through. But hey, always got to try some new segments and new things. Speaking of new segments, we're going to get to that in just a moment, but really fast, I want to predict for you guys overall in this league, who is going to be the biggest breakout star? So it can be from either division, but who is going to be somebody that you could see breaking out? I'm not talking about picking somebody that we know has always been consistently there. You're not picking Gus Skibbe here. You're not picking Scott Poley here. Who's going to be that star that's going to break out this year and surprise a lot of people? Peter, who do you got?
A lot of good choices here, but I'm thinking about the expectations and the end result. Who better than this guy right here? Eli, he's going to take – I can appreciate a captain who's organized and really wanting to take control of the team and step up when he's called upon. He's got low expectations, but I think he's going to finish as the leader of the team. And, if there were an all-star game, I think he'd be in it. So look at him truck through these other guys, the Marquette Mustangs. I'll go with Eli.
All right, very good. There will be all-star selections, but unfortunately no all-star game this year, as Peter said. So we'll still be selecting our all-stars because definitely the award is deserved for many of our players. So Luke, who do you got as your breakout star?
Man, I want to first say that I think Corey McCarthy is a phenomenal athlete. I can see him being extremely successful in the league. But as far as a breakout star this year goes, yes, Eli is a phenomenal choice for that. But I think right there, right beside him is Sam Rudnick. Sam Rudnick is one of the most athletic guys I've ever met. He'll be able to pitch. He'll be able to hit, and he'll be able to field. He's one of the best, alongside Eli and the rest of the team, one of the best, all around players, I think, in the league. So I think it's going to be a tie between Eli and Sam. So,
all right. Eli, do you agree with any of those?
I mean, I'd sure like to agree with Peter, and I hope he's right. But I definitely, and just so as I'm going to have to roll with my buddy Josh. At the end of the weekend, everyone's going to know who Josh is, and it's going to be because of his fielding and his pitching for sure. So I'm definitely going to rock with Josh.
That is an exciting development that all three of you have picked a Marlin to be the breakout star, because there are some people in this league that can still break out and do really well. And from what you guys have been saying, it seems like the Rookie of the Year race is going to be a little bit tighter than people think. We have Cole Layton, who has a lot of wiffle ball experience and will get some playing time on the Astros to kind of get those at bats. And then you have Mike Patterson, who we all know from Parkway South as well, the younger brother of Matt Patterson, big soccer star as well, but Mike Patterson going to be the fourth for the Rockies this year, and then obviously all of the Marlins. So it'll be more of an interesting race than I think people are realizing when it comes down to Rookie of the Year. So we're excited to see that for the breakout stars. But now let's do the opposite. Who is most likely bound for a slump this year? Is it a sophomore slump from somebody, or is it just somebody that's at the top that they think will be slumping? There's a self-slumper. He will say it himself over Summer League. Spencer Bogad was in a huge hitting slump, and he will tell anybody that he did not have as good of a year as he wanted to during Summer League. So there could be a random outlier like that happen. So, Peter, who do you think is going to be your biggest bound to slump candidate?
I'm sorry, Sam, but it's for me, it's Steve Hayes at this point. A pretty poor Summer League performance. The leg brace, scares the hell out of me. And I think playing with 3 Hall of Famers is going to kind of put a lot of pressure on his shoulders because he's got big shoes to fill if you think about Ty Butler or Corey McCarthy or whoever he's filling in for. So got to go with Steve.
All right, Luke, who's bound to slump this year?
Oh man, I hate to put somebody on the burning pedestal right now. It's a tough question. I feel,
it's all in good fun. So you could say Edlow and everybody will expect that, or you could say your brother Sam Bakula. That'd be fun.
Let's go with Edlow. He had a tough season in 2019, and I think it's going to take him a couple more years to bounce back, mentally. So.
Edlow is that guy that seems like every other year his hitting stats either grow or fall. Every single year, it's always hit or miss. So hopefully he can get something rolling here and get on a streak.
I'll go with Edlow in all love too.
All right, Eli. Anybody you want to candidate for a biggest slump this year?
Yeah, if a rookie can slump, I have some fears with my buddy Trent. If he can't straighten out a pitching mound, we'll see what he has to offer in terms of hitting and fielding. So I'm going to have to roll with Trent.
That's fine to pick a rookie because as well as you guys are talking about yourself, Sam and Josh, if Trent is that out for you guys every time, or he's that hole in your lineup or a hole on the rotation on the mound, then it could cost you a game or two. So if he slumps, then your team will struggle even more with that adjustment period. So not to put pressure on Trent, but it sounds like he's going to have to step up to the plate literally and figuratively when it comes to your team. So,
I'll tell you something about it's either he might struggle a little bit this season, or he's just going to go off.
Yeah.
Not quite sure. So I'm excited to see him play. I'm excited to see him pitch, but it's hit or miss. We'll see.
And I say that we say all the past, rookies have a transition period, but there have been rookies that have completely dominated this league. And it is very interesting to always see because rookies are so unknown. And especially when it's a full team of rookies, a lot of these veterans are coming in thinking, yeah, we got this. The Marlins are the easy game on our schedule. So you guys might be able to take advantage of that for sure. All right, guys, thank you so much. Let's do a quick thing with these divisions. I'm going to say a team name and all you got to say is yes or no. And that is you get 5 teams that are going to make the playoffs. So I'm going to go through every single team. There's got to be at least one from each division. because the division winners will be our 1 seed and our 2 seed, and then the 3 through 5 seed will be seeded out based on the rest of the wild card teams. So let's talk about this. 1 through 5, you got to pick. You don't have to tell me what ranking they are. You're just going to say yes or no. When I say a team name, do they make playoffs? Yes or no. All right? We're going to go around the horn as we go along. We're going to go in alphabetical order, starting with the Astros. Peter?
No.
Luke?
No.
Eli?
No.
Okay. Braves? Peter?
Yes.
Luke?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, you guys got the pattern. I don't need to tell you that all over again. Brewers?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Yep.
All right. The Expos?
No.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Wow. All right. All right. I'm with Marlins. Peter?
No.
No, not yet.
I'm going yes.
Yes, you can only pick 5, so you got some good teams coming up here. Be careful. All right, moving on. We got the Rockies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, and that would be a huge prediction considering they're the only team in the history of the franchise era that has made the playoffs every single year. Could that be in jeopardy this year without Brett and without Grant? Who knows? All right, let's go to the Twins. Pete?
Oh, Brett.
Of course.
Probably, yep.
And Eli?
Yep.
Yeah. And let's end with the defending champion, the Yankees. I assume we're all going to say yes.
Gotcha.
All right. So there you have it, folks. A couple of good predictions, couple interesting predictions from Luke and Eli, and kind of staying safe was Peter during his predictions as well. So thank you guys so much for doing that. Guys, I have one more fun, exciting activity planned. Ladies and gentlemen out there listening, these guys had no idea that this was about to happen. And here's how this game is going to work. Eli, as we all know, has a connection with both of the other guests on our podcast. Luke Bakula, great friend, and Eli knows the Bakula family well. And you could make the argument that Eli knows the Light family even better in many ways. So having Eli on with Peter and Luke is an exciting, almost family atmosphere we got going on here to add to the SWBL family environment that we like to promote. So we are going to play a little game, and I don't really have a name to this game, and I've been trying to think about it the entire time we've been talking, and I've been trying to combine the 2 last names of Bakula and Light. So we're just going to call it the Bakulite game. It kind of sounds like cellulite, but welcome to the game called Bakulite. I have 10 different questions that'll be very fast, and these questions are going to be questions that we're going to have Eli answer first, and then we're going to have Luke, who has a shorter career than Peter so far, and then Peter's been a part of the league ever since 2004, so he kind of has the leg up advantage of knowing some of these stats and knowing some of these things. I don't want you guys to cheat. Don't look online. Don't look on the website or anything like that right now. But I'm going to ask you 10 questions, maybe only 8 if we don't get through that many. But we're going to go through 10 questions, and Eli, all you got to do is answer: is it a Bakula or is it a Light? Or there might be some times that I say, is it all the brothers? So the Bakulas combined or the Lights combined, who has more of this? Or it might be a brother from each of them that you have to pick. So you guys have to break it down. And let me give you a clue. There have been 3 Bakulas in the league and 3 Lights in the league. Charlie playing as a bench player many times, and I included Charlie's stats in a few things, and there's going to be some interesting Charlie stats coming up here that you have to kind of keep a watch out for. And many of you might not know, but Eli, your brother-in-law Andrew Light was a founding member of this league. Him, myself, Brett Spencer, and Kevin Wheatucker were the ones that founded this league. You might be confused because Peter seems to be the founder and not Andrew, but yes, Andrew is a founding member of this wiffle ball league and played for 6 years in his career. So let's get started. I'm going to start off with some easy ones. Eli, you'll go first, and then we'll go to Luke, Peter, and we will give you the final answer if you guys have. So let's start. Actually, I'm going to start off with a curveball here. Eli, which trio of brothers has played in more championship games? Bakulas or Lights?
Bakulas.
Luke.
Baculus.
Peter.
I'll go Bakulus.
You got to consider this is also before the franchise era. So you have a ton of years before that. And you guys ended up getting the curveball correct. Yes, it is the Bakulas. Even Charlie Bakula participating in a championship game as well. Charlie Bakula played in the championship game as a bench player, but still played in it as well. Peter and John could have possibly gotten a little bit closer, but forfeited their only championship game. It is the only season in history that has been forfeited at the end at the championship when they played together. So that is the first question. Going to the next question. Who has the highest ERA out of all of the families? So Bakula and Lights. Who has the highest career ERA? It could be a Bakula or a Light. So combine the two families. Which brother out of the 6 has the highest ERA, Eli?
The Bakula family.
Oh, you got to pick a specific person. So out of the 6 people.
Luke Bakula.
Luke Bakula has the highest ERA. Luke, who do you think has the highest ERA?
I'm going to say for sure the Bakulas, but I think it's Sam because he never pitches, and there's a reason why. So we'll see.
Now, Peter's thinking hard because he knows that historically the Lights have not been very good pitchers at all either. So, Peter, who do you got as your pick?
Andrew Leicht.
Andrew Leicht. The correct answer, Luke, you are right. It is Sam Bakula, who has the highest ERA out of all of them as well. We may have lost Luke there, but you were right, Luke. It was Sam Bakula. Keep track of your own points, I guess. All right.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Career-wise, it might be different than the franchise era. So in the franchise era, which brothers in the franchise era have the most home runs? Most home runs in the franchise era. I give you Bakulas. Luke?
Which brothers? So this is not an individual now?
Correct. Yes. Which brothers?
I'm probably – I think Peter's got to be. I'm going to go with the Lights.
Okay. And Peter?
It's Bakulas. I can't do it all myself.
You are right, Peter. Peter may have the most home runs out of everybody in both families, but it is the Bakulas. So Peter and Eli, you caught up to Luke there. Luke getting the answer wrong. Indeed, it is the Bakulas. He didn't have any confidence in himself. Luke, a little side note. Side note, Luke, you last year, we didn't celebrate this, but you celebrated your 200th RBI in the franchise era for yourself. So congratulations. You have 200 RBIs exactly. From either family, I need an individual name here, Eli. Who has the most errors in the field in their career?
John Light.
Luke?
Yeah. I'm going to go with John.
Peter?
Yeah.
That's an easy one. John Light, indeed, has the most errors out of anybody in the history of the SWBL. So, okay, this is a tricky one here because you have to think about every season that these brothers have played in together. But I will give you one little. I'll just have you guys answer it correctly. But the Bakulas or the Lights, who has the most saves? And saves can come anytime you're 10 runs or up. So anytime that a team is up by 10 runs, they can get a save situation. So Eli, who do you think has the most saves in a season?
I'm going Lights.
Lights.
Yeah, I think I'd say Lights.
Okay, I'm going to give you a chance because you guys are all tied. So I'm going to give you a chance to change your answer when I tell you the Lights have 2 saves in their over 25 seasons together. Bakulas have played in 20 seasons. Does anybody want to change their answer?
No.
Nope.
2 saves. Luke, are you going to change your answer?
I'm not going to, no.
That's a smart idea. Yes, the Lights with 2, the Bakulas with a whopping 0. Indeed. So don't be distracted by door number 2 when you already went with door number 1. Very good. All right. Let's talk about win-loss percentage since we're on pitching, guys. Win-loss percentage. Which brothers have the better win percentage when it comes to win-loss pitching-wise? Not team-wise, pitching-wise. So on the mound as a pitcher, who has the best winning percentage? Is it the Bakulas or the Lights, Eli?
Gonna go Bakulas.
Luke?
Bakulas, I think.
Peter?
Yeah, I'm going to go Bakulas. I mean, you're talking career, you're talking Andrew and John and I'm going to go Bakulas.
All right. With a 46% win rate, it is the Bakulas, and a 21% win rate is the Lights at 27 and 103 in the Lights' career. So that's an impressive stat line in itself that there's that many games pitched in your guys' career combined. All right, let's keep moving. Let's talk about this because this gets a little bit closer, but let's talk about playoff wins. Playoff wins, and this includes everybody's entire careers. So John, Peter, and Andrew, playoff wins, and then the Bakulas with Luke, Charlie, and Sam. Playoff wins, and I will tell you it's very, very close. Eli?
Are you looking for the group or an individual?
Yes, the brothers. Yes, which trio of brothers?
I'm gonna go with the Lights.
Luke?
I'm gonna go with the Lights too for sure, considering how long Peter's been in the league.
And Peter?
Go Lights.
You are all wrong. It is the Bakulas by 1. Bakulas by 1 if you include Charlie's win that he had. So Charlie was the difference when it came down to it, and he can take that to his grave for sure, that he was the difference in this Bakulite cellulite Bakulite game that we have going on here. So let's talk about who's got more all-star selections, all-star games in the SWBL. Who has been selected as a brother group? Who has been selected to more? You got Sam and Luke. Charlie is not included in this. Andrew has never been a part of the franchise era. So you got John or Peter, or is it Luke and Sam? Eli?
Going with the Lights.
Lights. Luke?
Yeah, considering I only have one, I know Peter for sure has more than Sam. So
Peter?
the Lights.
I'll go Lights. Thanks. No thanks to John, I'm guessing.
No thanks to John, indeed. Peter, you have 6 by yourself, and the 2 Bakulas combined have 4. So congratulations, Peter. You outshine the Bakulas all by yourself. Very good. From your bright all-star sitting on your nice Hall of Fame pedestal there. All right. 2 players, Eli, and this is mainly a question for you because I think Luke and Peter will get this right, but 2 of these brothers, so this is an individual question, can you name the 2 players that have won the Comeback Player of the Year award? So ever since the SWBL started in the franchise era, we started giving out the Comeback Player of the Year award. 2 brothers have won this. It can be any of the 6 of them, but name the 2 of them that have won the Comeback Player of the Year award.
I'm going to go with Luke. I feel like he has – sounds familiar. And since he's on the call, I'm going to go Peter.
Okay. And Luke, who do you got?
I think it's me and John.
And Peter?
I know it was John, and I'm guessing it was Luke as well.
It is Luke and John, indeed. Yes, Luke and John, Comeback Player of the Year. Peter has not missed a season, right, Peter? Since
not in the franchise era.
Yeah, so it is Comeback Player of the Year. Luke came back and had a great season, obviously, for the A's after being gone, pursuing the baseball career. And then you had John Leicht coming back after many, many years and had a great year for the Brewers, I believe, right, Peter, when he won the award?
I think it was his first year with the Expos.
Oh, that was after he played for you guys, got his feet wet, and then went to the Expos. You're right. Very good.
He got his feet wet. Yes, he did.
All right. And home run derby champions, guys. How many total? So I'm doing, this is a number answer. So Eli, out of all the Bakulas and all the Lights, how many home run derby championships have they won?
0.
0 home run derby championships. Luke?
2.
2. And MVP?
So I think it's 2, me and John.
It is 2. Very good. It is both of the Lights home run derby champions. Peter and John have done it. Guys, you did very well on that, and I should have got harder questions. I thought I was going to stump you on most of them, only stumped on a few, but that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. So, Eli, you are well acquainted for the league, more than any of us realize. So, thank you so much, Eli, for keeping track and coming to our weekend every year on the past couple years, and we're excited that you guys are finally going to join join us. And thank you guys so much for bearing with me on that game and division breakdown and talking about your roster, Eli. I'm going to do some quick reminders real quick, guys, and then we'll all get to say a word before we leave. But we want to remind everybody out there that we are going to have, instead of a captain's meeting like we do every year, we are going to do a league-wide meeting instead over Zoom, just so everybody can get the information firsthand. We really want this to be captains and players, even former players that want to come back and just hang out. We'll all start on mute, and I'm just going to give the information to you directly rather than having it disseminate from our captains down. We feel like that there's important information this year that we want to give out to everybody firsthand. So if you can make it there, 7:30 Central Time on Sunday evening, this coming Sunday. By the time people are listening to this, it will be Saturday. So tomorrow at 7:30 Central Time, we will need as many people as possible to join our Zoom call. I will be sending all captains the link to that Zoom. Plus, I will be putting it on our GroupMe, and I will put on Twitter that if you want to contact me, I can give it to you directly through your phone. So you can join the Zoom call on phone or computer, but just to get that information, that'll be really important for season 18. We also want to plug Fantasy Wiffle. Peter, you want to plug Fantasy Wiffle? Talk about that. How can the people sign up?
They can sign up on our website, Sam, or they could message me directly. We've got $5 entry fee. Build your ultimate roster with the $20 budget that is allocated to the 5 different players. Luke, you especially, I know you're going to miss out, get a little FOMO, so why not put some skin in the game and come on down to Fantasyland.
Yeah, you might, after this podcast, Eli might have played his hand too early. He might wanted to pick more of his Marlin guys, but now other people might jump on the bandwagon and take the cheap players for right now because they might come back to get some more bang for their buck for sure. And then, guys, I want to thank you guys again for joining us. We got season 18, which is going to be a lot different for all of our fans and all of our players, but we can't thank you guys enough for trying to keep this as close to the season as possible with yet another podcast as we lead for 1 week away, guys. Today is Friday. We are literally 1 week away from SWBL season 18. And it's always exciting when you get to this point. So Eli, is there anything else out there that you want to say to everybody out there in SWBL fanhood or anybody else in the national wiffle scene, but anything about the Marlins or anything you're excited for going into season 18?
Well, we're excited for the opportunity, excited to meet everybody there. And we'll see you next weekend.
Awesome. And Luke, thank you so much for joining us again. And thank you again, like Eli said, for bridging that gap between your buddies and Eli and all the rest of the guys on the Marlins. And we're so excited for Kevin Pulley to finally reveal the Marlins roster. It's starting to look really amazing, and I can't wait for him to get that out to you guys. But Luke, anything you want to say to the listeners out there?
I just want to say good luck to everybody. I'm so – as sad as I am that I'm not going to be able to make it this year, I'm so happy that it's still, it's still on this year. And I'm incredibly excited for my best friends, to play in the league. I've always wanted them to make a team and bring that youth into the league and show everybody what they're made of. So I'm really excited for that.
Yes, we are very excited as well. And Peter, anything you want to say?
No, I'm excited to see what the Marlins can do. I pride myself on really knowing the ins and outs of every team, every player, but it's a bit of a wild card. I will say that I think Eli is going to be a 3-tool guy that will just lead the team and exceed expectations. When I look at Josh Anthony's mugshot on the website, he looks like the last guy I would want to mess with. I think he's going to be a Kyle Cornell type grinder with a bit of an anger issue that hopefully he can focus that on the field. Sam Rudnick, we always need more medical students and medical staff. No Alex Heck, no Steven Carter, no John Dories, so he'll fit in nicely and help others out. Trent Davis, 6'8". I can't imagine he's going to be great, but I think on the mound he's going to have something special. I see him as the fearless closer that could really lock down a win or two for the team.
Yeah, I was taking notes, Eli, as you were going through your roster because I have to write power rankings and scouting reports for preseason, and it's always tough when a new team comes in that I don't know a lot about, baseball experience and everything. So I have very small notes. So don't be surprised if the power ranking blurb is short, but also it's a chance for you guys to kind of have that blank slate, as it would be. And we can't thank you enough for joining and filling in for this year. And we'd love to get new blood in the SWBL and to see how we can make it fit and mold into something more. So thank you again for joining us, guys. I want to thank our sponsors as well. We want to thank our division sponsors, Ketting Eye Center and Glendale Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. Don't forget, there will be 2 Jeeps in left field, deep in the left field area. And if you hit it in either of the Jeeps and it stays in the Jeeps, Glendale Chrysler will pay for an oil change for you guys. You can bring it to Glendale and get a free oil change from Glendale Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, with 2 Jeeps now to aim for instead of just 1, because I just bought a Jeep from Glendale Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. And if you also want to purchase a car decal to go on your car, you will see car decals on both Jeeps out there in left field. The SWBL logo as a car decal, always a fun thing to add to your car, especially if you want to get people to honk and figure out what's that and tell them what it's all about. We want to thank our press conference sponsorship with Cardinal Blinds. We're going to do some press conferences post-game this year. We want to thank Dick's Sporting Goods for being our loyal sponsor. Reuben Brown coming back for our philanthropy. We're doing, instead of Strikeout for Buddies program, which isn't happening due to no fans at Cardinals games, we are doing instead Strikeout Hunger. And we are so excited to work with Operation Food Search of St. Louis, especially in the COVID-19 and the area that St. Louis is being affected. So every strikeout, we will have money donated to for every strikeout in the SWBL season. So pitchers, get your arsenals ready, and let's raise some money for everybody that's struggling out there in St. Louis right now in this pandemic. And we want to thank Chris Yeager from Urology St. Louis, one of our brand new sponsorships as well. I want to thank him for joining our sponsorship family. He'll be getting some SWBL swag for sponsoring us for sure. I want to thank Spencer Gear and Breck-X, always in their family businesses, Andy's Frozen Custard, Daily Smokehouse Barbecue, Cooper's Hawk Winery, and Gold's Gym, even though they're not in business anymore in the St. Louis area. But we thank you for your sponsorship while you were still here. So, guys, anything else you want to say before we go? No.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck.
Have fun.
Everyone out there, Wolfle Nation, we'll see you in a week. SWBL. See ya.
Take care.